he didn't just get everything from God, quote unquote. And find out later that he also read extensively on psychology. That someone, a sister in Princeton, went to the basement and found stacks and stacks of magazines of Psychology Today and different publications on psychology. So once again, the man who has the gift to discern spirits was the fellow that seemed to be well read in some of the areas of expertise that he claimed to have from God. Um, so you have the Message Coffee House leadership dismissing Stewart. You have Neil saying that they were Christians before Stewart even showed up on the scene. And so what you have is Stewart TRAILL coming out of nowhere. In his own words at the first big meeting, and he's also said this to Chris, that he was alone for 3 years, that he apparently got saved 1968. And when he got saved, that varies depending on Stewart's own words, what he told others, what the newspapers reported. But he was alone, and he witnessed alone, and nobody got saved, according to Stewart himself. So when it came to the Forever Family formation, what Stewart actually did was gather already saved, born-again Christians and corralled them into a group, and they were to listen to him. Now, was the FF different from Kobu? Yes, it was. I would say in a couple of different ways. First of all, Stewart's leadership wasn't singular in the beginning. Skip was considered a leader. Neil was considered a leader. The Fellowship House leaders were considered leaders. They'd have leaders' meetings. Rem was a leader. Primo. Anyway, the list goes on. But as time got on, and some would say that when Stewart divorced Shirley, and when he changed the church name from the Forever Family to the Church of Bible Understanding in 1976, that's when things changed. Now, I would say that's incorrect because, first of all, his behavior towards his first wife was despicable and very questionable and not biblical. His behavior towards Patty, which prompted his wife to confront him at a diner in Allentown, pour a bowl of sugar over his head, and tell him flat out, if you can go out, I can go out too, and in reference to Stewart entertaining, shall we say, the company of some of the young sisters while she was at home with the 5 kids. So, problems, and then I say it's not quite part of the history of the church, but more history of Stewart TRAILL. But his taking over the group, he didn't go by means of Scripture. He was not ordained. He didn't go to seminary. He didn't sit under other Christian leaders. He wasn't discipled by anyone. He himself said he was alone. And so he comes to Allentown, lives there, meets Skip, who's already a Christian. Skip brings him to Neil, Patty, and the rest, and they're already Christians as well. And eventually they break from the Message Coffee House, and the Forever Family is formed. After this, as the group is getting on and starting to grow, Stewart is taking more and more the lead. Fellowship House leaders gave their own Bible studies in the early days. They studied the Bible on their own. But as we know, as the Church Bible Understanding got larger and larger, it became more and more clear that Stewart was the only one with true interpretation, and there's only a handful of brothers in the church that also knew the figure system and knew interpretation. I'm thinking of Jim E., last name starts with an E, my own brother Chris, and a few others who actually studied the Bible and did find patterns and systems when it came to the figure system. So again, the church expanded. some would say that there was 10,000 members at one time. There was